So we've already talked about some of this stuff already, so we can implement them. So gradual separation has been mentioned. Establish a consistent routine. Consistency is really, really important when supporting a child or a young person with feelings of anxiety. It's about being consistent with it, because also on those days where you feel they're having a really, really good day, they haven't been as anxious, still be consistent with your techniques, because what you find may happen if on a good day you're not engaging in that conversation as much, or you're not reassuring them that you're coming back, or you're not reassuring them that they can go to their teacher for help. In their little mind, they might start to get confused. How come mummy or daddy hasn't said that? They might not understand what's kind of going on, and that's when those behaviors might present again, those feelings of anxiety. So it's about really being consistent, even on the good days where it seems like they're doing really, really well. Continue with, if they say to you they don't want their transition objects, by all means, don't force them to take it, but still continue, let them know that it's there in case they need it. So we've talked about consistent routine, allowing your child to bring a transitional object. Depending on the size of it, they can keep it in their school bag. If it's really, really small, they might keep it in their pocket, knowing it's always with them. And it can be really helpful because it can serve as like a tangible and actual physical connection to their caregiver, and it helps to provide that sense of security. As mentioned, communication is really important. You can use things like visual aids as well, as I mentioned about using the calendar. You can use a daily schedule or a calendar to help your child to kind of understand when you won't be with them, if it's at school or nursery. But also discuss your plans with your child where possible, of course using simple language and clear expectations, and just remind them that you're going to return and pick them up. So just reassure them that you will be coming back. Staying connected, which kind of means really establishing a communication routine to stay connected with your child where possible. In some cases, if a child's really upset or distressed, the school maybe allow you to speak to them on the phone just to kind of reassure them that everything's okay. But obviously each setting will be different, so you'd need to speak to the school. And as mentioned, keep the communication positive and supportive, offering encouragement and praise, focus on what's working well. You can play pretend separation situations. Like, it's really common for children to kind of play like pretending games and role-playing games. So you can do that with your child as well. Pretend play situations where your child pretends to leave and then comes back, or vice versa. And just these kind of role plays will help them to develop those skills and to support them to feel safer, and that they're going to be in a safe and familiar environment. And familiarize them with a new environment, as mentioned. If possible, go to the school, and if they're able to meet the teachers, and encourage your child to ask questions, not only of yourself but also their teachers and stuff at school as well. Ask them to ask questions and to ask for help or express any worries they might have. As mentioned, lastly, about the positive reinforcement, just acknowledge that, and praise them that they've done really, really well. And especially at the end of that school day, when they've managed to get through a whole day, praise is going to be really, really important. And just kind of reinforce how well they've done. And then hopefully as time goes on, it should get a bit easier. And so, managing those kind of anxieties at drop-off time. So once you've kind of done your preparations using some of the techniques suggested, or you might have others that you've devised for yourself, you've worked out for yourself. So once you've done those preparations, it's time to kind of face the start of school. So the first initial days or weeks can be really challenging, even for children who may not necessarily experience or present with separation anxiety. But some of the strategies that we've mentioned can help to make the transition as smooth as possible. So it's about having have a positive attitude. So if you remember that children kind of learn from us as adults, they take their cues from us. So it's really important to stay positive and composed, even if you yourself inside are really worried. Try to, where possible, avoid showing that your child's separation anxiety is also worrying you. Smile, remind them of the great experiences they will have at school, and the learning and the fun that they'll enjoy at school. So where possible, try to have that positive attitude. But at the same time, as mentioned earlier, acknowledge and validate their concerns or their feelings. It's, reassure them that it's really normal to be quite nervous. And you might find it helpful, that your child might find it helpful, if you share stories of your own childhood anxieties. It can help you to connect with your child, and your child will also know that you were also a child once and you also went through this as well. So it can help you to connect with your child. But also they will be able to see, and you'll be able to demonstrate that, with, the worries that they have are normal, but you can actually overcome them. You can actually get past them. Where possible, have a smooth goodbye when it is time to drop them off at school, using the ritual that you might have practiced, or the goodbye technique you might have practiced, and reassure your child that you'll return soon. And then leave. If you can, after that, then go. It may feel insensitive at the time, or it may be really, really hard to kind of leave them when they're, they might be crying or really pleading for you to stay. But sometimes actually lingering on and let it going on for much longer can actually impact on the situation. It might make it a bit worse. It prolongs that anxiety. So where possible, if you can avoid prolonging the leaving, or just giving one more minute, it can because if you prolong it, it can sometimes create a false impression that you might be able to stay, and you're not going to be able to, especially if you're hesitant yourself. So it can feel really difficult, but it is about, say your goodbyes, reassure them that they've done really well, your hugs and kisses and your ritual that you've come up with, and then you need to kind of hand them over to the school or the nursery and then leave. And I can appreciate it will be difficult, but as time goes on, it should get easier. And you remind yourself, you're teaching your children to build up these resilient skills. Where possible, at the end of school day, if possible, be punctual to pick them up. If in the afternoon before picking up your children, if you've got some time to yourself, or you go and do errands, it's not uncommon to sometimes lose track of time. I remember once when my child was young, and I had a couple of hours, and I thought, I'll just lie down for half an hour and then I'll get up and get them. And next thing I had the phone ringing. The school was like, are you coming to get him? So yeah, where possible, try and be punctual, try and be focused on picking them up. So it's about just ensure that you arrive on time, or if someone else is picking up your child for you, that they arrive on time, or even early. If they can get there like 5 or 10 minutes early, if the child can see them through the glass window, they're going to feel great if they can see that whoever's picking them up is there. Because that feeling of being late can really heighten anxiety, and it may potentially impact on the next day when you have to drop them off again. It might be even more challenging than the first time, because it's that consistency. It's really important to be consistent, because that will help to maintain a kind of smooth transition. Whereas if it's a bit not so consistent, not so smooth, it can actually raise more anxiety in the child. So again, by applying these strategies, you can help to ease your child's separation anxiety and just help things go a bit smoother.